This is the story of how North Korean hackers and billions of dollars in stolen cryptocurrency get converted into Lamborghinis, Birkin bags, and beachfront mansions, and how a hidden network of fixers, money launderers, and luxury dealers make it all possible. Between the moment a hacker drains a crypto wallet and the moment a 20-year-old pulls up to a Miami nightclub in a $3.8 million Pagani, there exists an entire underground economy.
Like it's game time. I wake up, flex, I'm down that check. No drip, this time to run it.
A shadow luxury market with its own specialist, its own supply chains, and its own rules. Until very recently, almost no one was paying attention to it. Let's start with the numbers, because the scale of cryptocurrency theft is genuinely difficult to comprehend. A joint investigation by the New York Times and dozens of global news outlets traced at least $28 billion tied to illicit activity flowing through major crypto exchanges over just a 2-year period. Blockchain analytics firms like Chainalysis and TRM Labs track these flows in real time, but the scale is staggering. We're not talking about a niche problem. This is a parallel financial system operating at a nation-state scale. Enter Malone Lam. Lam was a Singaporean dropout who went by the online aliases Anne Hathaway and Greaves. He'd grown up in online gaming communities, Minecraft servers, and Discord channels before moving to the United States in October 2023, bouncing between Los Angeles, Miami, and the Hamptons. He was 20 years old. On August 18th, 2024, he and his associates allegedly contacted a victim in Washington, D.C., and through social engineering, fraudulently obtained over 4,100 Bitcoin, valued at $263 million.
Oh my god! $243 million! Do you know how much money that is?
What happened next is a masterclass in how stolen crypto becomes real-world luxury. Within weeks, Lam was spending at a pace that would make most lottery winners look restrained. Nightclub tabs running up to $500,000 per evening. Luxury handbags worth tens of thousands of dollars that he gave away at parties. Watches valued between $100,000 and $500,000. Rental mansions. One in Miami cost $68,000 per month. Private jets. A team of private security guards. And cars. So many cars. Lam allegedly purchased more than 30 exotic cars. Ferraris, Lamborghinis, Mercedes G-Wagons, a Rolls Royce, a McLaren. The jewel of the collection was a Pagani Huayra. He bought for $3.8 million. He purchased a single watch for $2 million. His associate, Jendel Serrano, who went by Versace God Online, was wearing a $500,000 watch when the FBI arrested him in Los Angeles. Now, here's where the underground market comes into focus. A 20-year-old can't just walk into a dealership with a duffel bag full of cash and buy 30 exotic cars without raising questions. Someone had to facilitate these purchases. Someone had to make this money look clean enough to spend. This is the role of the fixer. The trial and investigation revealed an entire subculture revolving around newly created crypto wealth. There are the crypto kids, some scammers, others who acquired their riches legitimately. Then there are the fixers who set them up with homes, cars, clothes, and other luxuries. And then there are those who preyed on the crypto kids themselves. In Lam's case, the operation had a formal structure. Kunal Mehta, a 45-year-old from Irvine, California, who went by the aliases Papa, the accountant, and I kid you not, Shrek, served as the financial backbone. Mehta performed wire transfers for the group, sending stolen funds to exotic car dealerships, private jet companies, and real estate rental companies. His cut was 10%. He eventually pleaded guilty to participating in a RICO conspiracy and admitted laundering at least $25 million. Other members ran what amounted to unlicensed crypto-to-cash conversion services. Hamza Doost, Joel Cortez, and Evan Tangeman, all 21, allegedly operated these informal banking channels, taking crypto on one end and producing clean enough fiat currency on the other. Tangeman, from Newport Beach, California, admitted to laundering $3.5 million in crypto. The methods of moving cash were sometimes sophisticated and sometimes laughably crude. Prosecutors revealed that members of the group mailed bulk cash hidden in Squishmallow stuffed animals. Those soft, round collectible plush toys that teenagers love, stuffed with hundreds of thousands of dollars and shipped through the mail. After Lam was arrested in September 2024 and held without bail, he allegedly continued running operations from behind bars. He passed and received directions, coordinated the collection of stolen cryptocurrency, and had enterprise members purchase luxury Hermes Birkin bags and hand-deliver them to his girlfriend in Miami. This was the first Bitcoin-related RICO case in history, and across the 12 people arrested, the group had spent $4 million at nightclubs and $9 million on exotic cars. Many of Lam's vehicles have never been recovered. That $3.8 million Pagani, as of the latest court filings, nobody knows where it is. The luxury market serving crypto criminals extends far beyond one group of reckless 20-somethings in Miami. The infrastructure is global, and at the center of it sits an organization that processes more money than most people can fathom. Huawei Group, based in Cambodia, laundered at least $4 billion in illicit proceeds between August 2021 and January 2025. But that figure was just the beginning. When blockchain analytics firm Elliptic completed a deeper investigation, they identified that Huawei and its Telegram-based marketplace, Huawei Guarantee, had processed as much as $98 billion in crypto transactions. $98 billion. Through a single Cambodian company with ties to the country's ruling Hun family. The marketplace operated on Telegram and functioned like an Amazon for criminals. Users could purchase personal data, money laundering services, and tools for conducting pig butchering scams, those elaborate romance and investment frauds that have milked victims out of billions. The US Treasury designated Huawei Group as a primary money laundering concern. FinCEN issued a final rule prohibiting American financial institutions from doing business with them. Cambodia's national bank revoked Huawei Pay's operating license. Yet investigations revealed that even after these actions, Huawei had funneled an average of $1 million per day in tethers to customers' accounts in Binance. From July 2024 to July 2025, after Binance's own plea deal with US authorities, the exchange received at least $408 million in tether from Huawei. The company eventually froze withdrawals, rebranded as HPay, and sparked panic among users who rushed to its headquarters trying to access their savings. Tom Robinson, co-founder of the blockchain analytics firm Elliptic, put it bluntly. This should serve as a wake-up call for the broader financial ecosystem to strengthen the detection and disruption of cross-border laundering networks. But then, something changed. Under the Trump administration, enforcement actions against the cryptocurrency industry were systematically rolled back. Regulators dropped civil lawsuits against Coinbase, Kraken, and Binance. The president pardoned 3 founders of BitMEX, who had pleaded guilty to violating anti-money laundering laws. He also disbanded a Justice Department unit that investigated crypto-related crimes. The administration's pledge to make America the crypto capital of the world signaled a markedly pro-innovation approach. At the same time, Treasury lifted its sanctions on Tornado Cash, the decentralized cryptocurrency mixer that had been blacklisted in August 2022 for helping launder more than $7 billion in cryptocurrency, including funds stolen by the North Korean Lazarus Group. The legal battle over Tornado Cash raised genuinely novel questions. Can a set of self-executing smart contracts on a blockchain constitute property? Can a decentralized protocol with no centralized control qualify as a person or entity under the law? Courts ultimately sided with the argument that it could not. So here's where we are. Billions of dollars flow through a system that converts stolen digital assets into real-world luxury at a breathtaking speed. The infrastructure spans from North Korean military intelligence, to Cambodian Telegram marketplaces, to 21-year-olds running unlicensed crypto exchanges out of Newport Beach. The fixers who connect stolen crypto to Lamborghini dealerships operate in a gray zone that law enforcement is only beginning to understand. The regulatory environment remains deeply conflicted between the desire to foster innovation and the need to stop an increasingly sophisticated criminal ecosystem. The secret luxury market for crypto thieves isn't really secret anymore. But understanding that it exists and actually stopping it are two very different things. Because right now, somewhere in the world, someone is taking stolen Bitcoin, routing it through a chain of wallets, converting it through an informal broker, wiring the proceeds to a luxury dealer, and driving away in a car that costs more than most people will earn in a lifetime. I hope you enjoyed this video, and it would mean the world to me if you liked the video and subscribed. I make videos about everything ranging from cyber criminals to government-backed hackers, all the way into deep web investigations and ethical hacking tutorials. Thank you for watching, and I hope you have a